Hi, I'm Jennifer Malley from Good Foundations International, and I'm here to make a video of how to sew this diaper cover. And I'll show you how this works. So I used snaps to hold this diaper cover in place, but you're going to want to open this up and find a towel or a rag to go inside of here. And then you're going to put this around the baby and snap or button this closed like this. Okay, so when the baby gets this dirty, this is what comes away, and you put a new fresh towel or rag inside. So you open this up, you'll take this out and put a fresh one in. Okay, so this is what we're going to sew today. This is 2 pieces of fabric, and on the inside is a strong piece of plastic to keep any moisture from coming to the outside of the diaper cover. And let me show you the items that you need in order to sew this. You're going to need fabric that will be suitable for the outside of the cover. This can be like dress fabric or just cotton. You're going to need the fabric to go on the inside, and I picked a softer cotton fabric, kind of like a baby sheet or a baby blanket, and that's cotton as well. Then I sent the pattern to most of the communities. I can send you a copy of this pattern by email, and it'll come in 8.5 by 11 sheets, and you can print it out on a computer and tape it together, and then you'll have a copy of this pattern. You'll need some elastic to go around the legs here and around the back of the diaper, scissors, some plastic to go inside of the diaper cover. You'll also need some pins, some sewing pins here. And it's very important that you have 2 of these safety pins. These are very important to help make this, okay? And of course the scissors. And it's very challenging to sew this by hand. So I really recommend either having an electric or a treadle sewing machine. So my next step is I'm going to cut out the pieces that I need to start sewing this, and we'll come back to the video after I get the pieces cut out. So I have used this pattern to cut out the outside of the diaper, the sheet that's going to be the outside covering. I have cut out the same pattern for the fabric that's going to be the inside, and I've used the pattern to cut out the same shape in a piece of plastic that's going to be sewn between the 2 pieces of fabric. I've written the word outside on the surface of these 2 fabrics because I want to make sure that this represents the side of the fabric that you're going to see. It would be your pattern side or the side of the fabric on the outside surface and the inside surface, okay? I'm gonna show you how to pin this together. The first piece is going to be, you're gonna take whatever fabric you've chosen for this outside of the diaper, and you're gonna lay it down on the table with your pattern side, or the side you're gonna see up, okay? This is the fabric that we're gonna use for the inside of the diaper. And I'm gonna make sure that the side of the fabric that you can see is going to go down. So you're gonna have both sides together that you are going to, in the end, you're going to see these two pieces of fabric, these 2 sides. You're going to actually see them. So we're going to put the 2 outside pieces together. And we're gonna line these all up. And then I'm going to place the piece of plastic on top. And the next step is to pin all of the edges together in preparation for sewing. I have the 3 pieces of fabric pinned together. So here's the green fabric, the pink fabric, and the plastic is on top. Now remember, when I put the green and the pink fabric together, okay, I put the right side of the fabric together, and then I've put the plastic on top. And I've pinned it all in place. And the next step is going to be sewing. But when I sew, I have to leave 3 places without sewing, 3 places that are open. So I want to leave this end open, so no sewing here. I want to leave this end open, so don't sew here. And then a space about this large where you don't sew here. So when I take it to the machine, I'm gonna sew a seam to here, and I'm gonna stop. And then I'm gonna sew a seam all the way across. This is an example of how far out I'm gonna sew the seam. I'm gonna take it all the way to this end and I'm gonna stop. Then I'm gonna leave it open, and then I'm gonna sew from here all the way around and stop. Okay. So I have now sewn these 3 pieces together, and I'll point out where I've sewn. So the orange line is my thread, and I've left this open, so I have no seams here. There's no seams here. This is open as well. And I've left this area unsewn and open as well. We have left these parts open so that we can turn everything inside out, or right side out. But before we do that, so that our seams fold very well, we're going to make some cuts with our scissors anytime there's a curve. We want to make some cuts in the seam fabric. When we make these cuts, we want to make sure that we do not cut through our thread. So we're going to make little cuts like this all along the curved areas, like this. Okay, we can skip this part and we can start to make some cuts. Here along this curve, and then we can make cuts on this curve as well. And we want to make sure that we do it on the other side as well. Cut this. Skip down to this inside curve. Again, make sure you don't cut your thread. And here. All right, now we are ready to use this opening right here. We're going to put our fingers between the 2 pieces of cloth, and we are going to turn this sewn diaper right side out. Turn the diaper right side out. So as you can see, the outside, I have the marking of the outside of the fabric and the outside of the fabric here, okay? So this is getting to look like this diaper right here. So you see the next thing that we need to do is to put the elastic into this diaper. And we're gonna put it here and along the back. So here's a piece here as well. So how we proceed with putting in the elastic is we need to return to our original pattern, and we need to put the pattern on top of our diaper. And we're going to mark pins in the place of these lines. So we're gonna lift it up and we're gonna put a pin. We're gonna mark it with a pin like this, okay? We're gonna mark a pin here. We're gonna go up to the top and we're gonna put a pin right here. And to make it so it's symmetrical, what I suggest doing is taking this away. We're gonna fold the diaper in half. And then that shows us that we can mark exactly where this pin is here. So these match. And we can put a pin right underneath this pin. And we can put a pin right under this pin, okay? So when we open this diaper up, okay, we have marked the same places on this diaper as on the pattern, right here. And what this marks is the channel or the opening where we are going to put our piece of elastic. Now, some people may buy elastic that's thinner than this. Because my elastic is this wide, I need to make sure that the channel or the opening for this elastic is wide enough to put this in. So the first thing I'm going to do is measure very loosely how much elastic I probably am going to need here. Okay. And I'm going to double that up and make it the same size for this side of the diaper. Okay. And then I'm going to measure one that fits across the top like this. Okay. And I'm going to mark this, and I'm just going to cut this to around the same length. So here are my 3 pieces of elastic that I'm going to put into this diaper. So in order to sew a space for this, I know that I need to sew an opening that is at least this wide, okay? So it's gonna be wide enough to fit the elastic in. So it's gonna be about like this wide. All right, and I'm gonna have to mark this side as well. So this side's gonna be about this wide. So this elastic can fit in there, okay? And the same with the top. We're gonna want a channel that's at least this wide. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is sew a seam that starts here and goes along this path and stops here. Same with this one. I'm going to start here, I'm going to sew an end here, and I'm going to start here, and I'm going to sew across here and stop here. And that's the next part of the diaper. So I have sewn the seams to make the space to put the 3 pieces of elastic in. So this piece will go in here, this piece will go in this channel, and this piece will go in this channel. The next step is to put a safety pin on both sides of your piece of elastic. And we're going to insert one of the safety pins inside the opening, and we're going to find the channel. We're going to put the safety pin and the elastic from the inside. We're going to feed it into this channel, okay? And the safety pin helps you find all right. So my safety pin has come through this channel, and it's under this cloth right here. And I'm going to make sure that the elastic is laying flat inside of here. And I'm going to take a pin, and I'm going to pin through the fabric into the elastic and hold it in place. And now I'm going to sew across here, which is going to hold the piece of elastic. It's going to sew the piece of elastic inside right here. And I can take the pin out, okay? So now this piece of this side of the elastic is held firmly in here. And now I'm gonna reach inside, and I have the piece of elastic in the pin on the other side of the channel. When I pull this, I'm going to see this side bunch together. Like this, okay, which makes, we're trying to make this side of the leg, the diaper. So when I feel like this is bunched up enough, I'm going to take a pin, and I am going to pin the elastic, pin the elastic in place at the end of the channel. And now I'm going to sew here, which is going to lock the piece of elastic between these 2 points. You now have this leg finished with the elastic in it, and now we're going to put the elastic on this side, and then we're going to run the elastic back here. I'll return to the video after this leg is finished and I'll show you how to put the elastic in the back. All right, I now have both legs finished with the elastic inside of each of these spaces. Now I want to remind you that when you put in your elastic, you used a safety pin and you need to take that safety pin out. So you can always use these holes here to come in to take the safety pin off of this side of the elastic and this side. And you're going to want to trim your elastic because when you pull it, you're going to get extra length of elastic. You're going to want to trim it. So that will help make the legs finished. Now I'm going to show you how to put the elastic in the back side. So again, you're going to put safety pins on both sides of your long piece of elastic. And that's why we left these spaces so open. We didn't sew here so that we could insert the elastic into this channel. So we're going to put the pin and feed it through this space. Okay, so my safety pin is now, as you can feel it, it's come out this side. It's past the end of the channel here. So we again can pin the elastic in place here. Now, one of the reasons that we have this safety pin on this side is it's possible to pull the elastic too far into this channel. And if you don't have a safety pin on it, you can't pull it back. So this allows us to find and pull and keep this end of the elastic from going inside the channel, okay? So we're gonna go back to this side and we're gonna sew and secure this. See where my pin is, okay. Okay, I'm gonna sew this side of the elastic into the channel, into the space. And now we have this safety pin in here, so we want to make sure that we take that safety pin out. Okay, so now that's out. And the next thing we want to do is pull with this safety pin on the other side of the elastic. To form the back of the diaper. Okay. Now, depending on the size of the baby, you can adjust how tightly you pull the elastic, because it can make a larger diaper or a smaller diaper based on how tight you pull the elastic. I'm going to now sew this side into place. Okay, and again, you're going to want to take the safety pin off of this end of the elastic and pull it out, and you can cut it shorter to fit nicely inside of the diaper. So now you can see how the diaper cover is starting to take shape. The next thing we want to do is to tuck these ends in. So we're going to tuck the ends in and we're going to sew across them so that we can close up the holes. So we're going to pin these shut like this. I'm going to pin the other one on this side shut. Tuck it in. And pin that shut. And then the final one we're going to pin shut is the hole that we kept open at the front. We're going to tuck the ends in. Like this. So now we have these 3 holes all tucked in, ready to be sewn. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to what's called top stitch. So I'm going to sew from here, starting at the end of a leg opening. I'm going to come out and I'm going to top stitch very, very close to the edge, all the way around. And what that's going to do is that's going to close up this hole. I'm going to come around and come back to here and stop. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sew from the end of this leg hole. I'm going to come out, sew very close to the edge, and come to this hole edge and stop. And I'm going to do the same here. Start here, go all the way around, and stop. All right, so I'm going to show you the top stitching that I did. So I had explained that I was going to run a stitch all the way around the very edge of the diaper. And what that did is that closed up this open hole and the open side here and the open side here. So now they're all sewn shut. And this is now the outside of the diaper, right? And you can see that it makes the stitches lie nice and flat and makes the diaper more strong. So that's the top stitching. Then I jumped ahead to put the fasteners on the diaper. Now, the diaper that I had showed you at the beginning has snaps on the diaper, okay? So I used snaps, which is definitely an option for you to do. But in case you don't have snaps, then I thought I would make one with buttons. So this is gonna come up like this and wrap around the babies. And I made a buttonhole here, and this buttonhole is gonna go around this button here, all right, and fasten. And then I sewed the button on this side, but I did not make the buttonhole. I thought I'd show you how to make this buttonhole. And when it's done, you'll see that that is how we're gonna fasten this around the baby. As the baby grows, or if the baby is smaller than this, we can simply sew another button on and button it tighter and then make it looser as the baby grows and needs this bigger cover. I'm gonna unbutton this so it will lie flat, okay? And I'm gonna show you what I did to make this buttonhole. So the first thing was, I measured the diameter of this button right here. And I marked it where I wanted the hole to be. I marked it and I put 2 small dots with a pen on the edge of the button. And I'm cutting the slot with a razor blade. I'm cutting through the fabric and I'm making it a little smaller than the outside of the button because you want it to fit tight and it'll stretch after you put the buttonhole through it. So I cut this hole and you see it goes from the front to the back and it does fit around. You can test it. The button does fit around it. But because over time the edge of the buttonhole isn't strong, that's where we're gonna hand reinforce. We're gonna stitch around the outside of the hole to make it strong so it stands up to buttoning and unbuttoning. And what we're gonna do is I have a piece of thread here and I put a knot in the bottom of at the end of the thread, and I'm gonna put the knot from the back side so you don't see it. You're gonna come up from the back right here and come up through the front, kind of where your initial pen mark is, okay? And I'm going to simply go around in circles with the thread around the edge of the hole. So we're gonna start here, and I'm gonna go from here, I'm gonna go wrap around the edge and come up at the bottom. This is what it looks like on the back side. get to the end here, this is my final stitch. I'm going to put the needle through to the back side, and I'm going to make a knot at the back here, next to the original knot where I started. I'm going to cut it off. And now we have our 2 reinforced buttonholes. And we have a diaper cover that is now complete and ready to put the diaper inside of it and use it for baby.